Welcome, everyone, to the Mapped Out Podcast. I am your host, Michael, along with my buddy, Michael. Today, we're getting your hair, your skin, and your teeth looking good. Let's get it, baby. Okay, now before we begin, here's what we ask. If we do a good job, we ask that you reciprocate and share the show. Without you guys, the show doesn't grow very fast, so we appreciate all the shares that we can get. So without further ado, Michael, how are you doing today, baby?
I am all right.
All right. You usually just say good.
Yeah, not today. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just cold.
Dude,
It's snowing,
I walked
tragic.
outside today and just the wind gust hit my head. And I was like, yeah, we're done with Milwaukee. I'm ready to get out of here. Let's go back to St. Louis.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, you're up here for the long term. Okay. So today's episode, we are talking about hair. We're talking about skin and teeth care. So 3 main aspects that a lot of people look at for improving, and nutrition has a lot to do with all 3 of them, but also healthy habits surrounding those 3 groups. So let's start. You want to start with hair? I think we'll work from the top down.
Yeah,
Does that
sure.
work?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So let's kick it off. Where should we even begin to talk about hair care?
Let's just say what hair is. How about that?
Okay, we'll kick it off. What
So-
is hair?
Hair is dead cells
Okay.
that expand through. And just as your skin has many layers of dead cells, thick skin, your hair can vary in thickness.
Okay.
So you can have thin hair or thick hair. I like to use the term fine hair for
Yeah.
me because I do not have thin hair. I have a lot of hair, just fine,
Now you're looking at me. I got the fine blonde hair, but it's slowly thinning. I mean, what do you call it? The hairline. The hairline's reducing. quite a bit.
yeah.
But anyway, so we have different hair
Yep.
cells, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
And your hair is made up of protein. One of these proteins is called keratin, and we mentioned this beforehand when talking about showers, I believe,
Mhm.
and cold showers and
Yeah.
hair health. We know that proteins denature or lose their form if they're too hot. So this is why people who shower with very hot water have dry skin and their hair falls out more often
Mm-hmm.
because the proteins are denatured, so they can't hold their formation, and then they fall out. So yeah, I guess that we can start there. Yeah. So hair's a protein, so there's a lot of different vectors we can use to make sure it's healthy.
Okay. So now that we kind of have an idea of what we're analyzing here, okay? We're analyzing how we can improve the health of the actual hair, and this is through our knowledge of protein and how we can improve upon existing levels that we currently have. So dive into a little bit about improvement, or wherever you really want to begin.
Yeah. So back onto the thickness versus thin hair. People with different variances of thickness to thinnest hair will have different amounts of sebum.
Okay.
And sebum is basically an oil that's produced by your body. It's a natural oil that its duty is to make sure that your skin and hair retain their moisture. Because obviously, if you've ever applied moisturizer that's an oil base, you'll notice that your skin is more soft and hydrated, and that's because it will not lose its moisture since it's retained within an oil capsule, pretty much, to put it in simple terms. So your skin's oily, your hair is oily. Basically, if you have thick hair, the sebum will accumulate slower. If you have thin hair, It'll accumulate faster. So this is the basis of why I shower certain times per week using shampoo or not. This is because shampoo is a detergent, so it acts to strip oils.
Yep.
In the process of trying to get rid of dirt.
Okay.
But it's not selective since it isn't sentient, obviously, because it's shampoo. So for people who have thicker hair, I usually recommend that they shampoo every other day, or every 36 hours.
Jinx.
However, I can't talk now. However, for people with thin hair like me, fine. You might want to shower more often with shampoo. And this is because sebum is accumulating way faster than for people with thick hair who don't require the removal of the excess oil.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this in people who don't shower, unfortunately, and they have very oily looking hair. That's just the accumulation of sebum. But obviously, with everything in the organism and physiology, you want to keep it in a normal range. So anything in excess is obviously bad. As we can see later on when we talk about skin and sebum and how that may cause pimples. But shampooing, according to how thick your hair is important in maintaining not only the moisture and density of your hair, but also making sure that you're taking care of yourself too.
Yeah. So moisture is a key part of what we're going to talk about today, because the hair and the skin have a lot in common because hair comes from the skin. And me being a fine, or not thinning hair, maybe is thinning, but fine hair, right? So for me, I would want to shower more regularly than someone who maybe has a real thick head of hair, because I produce more sebum, right?
Well, you produce the same amount. You probably produce the same amount, but since your hair is thinner, it can travel faster up that peak.
Gotcha.
And it can cover. It doesn't have to cover as thick of an area or surface area because it's thinner.
There's less density there for it to
cover.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why you'd want to shampoo more often.
Gotcha. So while we're on the topics of shampoo, okay, boys, this is going out to the boys. I understand the 6-in-1. Okay, it's great. You can get your hair, you can get your body, you can get your car. We understand.
Yeah,
okay?
literally. Though, yeah.
Actually, it'd probably do better for your car than it would do your skin.
Yep.
It's time we put that away, right? I think we can all agree the 6-in-1 is probably not the premier cleaning tool. So if they want to put away the 6-in-1, what are some ingredients that they should look for in products? What are some products maybe that you've seen on the market that are decent for you?
Yeah. So if you want a good place to look for beauty salons or possibly stores that specialize in hair care. So like Ulta. You ever heard of Ulta?
Ulta Beauty? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. So I get shampoo from there.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Hey, I'm not making fun of you. Your hair looks good.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you. And no girl likes crap hair unless you're a rock star or Machine Gun Kelly. No one really likes that rust look. I'm at least from what I've gathered.
Yeah,
it's good to have clean hair.
and also I think that just goes to in general, like cleanliness.
Yeah,
at least especially for me. Like I feel better.
Yeah,
I feel better. I probably relate to people more when I'm clean. Like I give off positive energy. Like I care.
Yeah. So anyway,
wow, we're diving.
Ulta.
Yeah.
So
dive.
Just get something that has shampoo, just basic shampoo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think you can buy it with certain ingredients such as sulfates. And sulfates are important because the bonds between keratin molecules, proteins, these specific bonds are sulfur bonds, disulfide bonds. So you can actually buy shampoo that has sulfates in it, I believe,
And it
and
promotes the bonding of
yeah,
proteins.
yeah, exactly. So you have tighter bonding, and your bonds, if they were broken, are more often than not going to regenerate because there's a higher density of sulfates in your hair, I believe. So that's another thing to look for is sulfur.
You know, it would be super interesting, and we'll get back to different ingredients. But if we looked at these hair restoration, these hair restoration brands, it would be interesting to see if they, or how they go about the process, and if they use excess sulfur to initiate the bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good idea, maybe for a future episode.
Yeah. Like I use Redken.
Ooh.
I've used Redken in the past. That's good.
Yep.
That's
what my mom uses.
Yeah, it's great. I've used Dove Men's Plus Care.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, go-to. And some other like very niche stuff that, you know. Point is, just look for quality, not cheap. Don't go like super expensive, but go like, you know, put something in there because it's worth it.
Yep. And it comes back to, you know, buy good products that do good things.
Yeah.
And it will pay off.
Yeah, like your hair regenerates, yeah, but eventually, for certain people, you know, you're gonna need to maintain that care routine because, or else your hair might start falling out. And you know, we want healthy cells surrounding the area to produce hair for long term. So, yeah, put some money into it. And then conditioner, I don't really use it that much. I use it sometimes if like my hair is really dry. If it feels dry, then I use conditioner. Or
what's the point of conditioner?
So basically conditioner adds like a fullness and thickness to your hair, I believe.
Okay.
So like if your hair is like thinner like mine, fine. It's fine. I don't have a receding hairline. But anyway.
Hey, why you
I
why
didn't
you
say you
taking
did.
shots?
I didn't say you did. No shots. Gun's not loaded. But yeah, it adds like they use it for like a volumizer. It's like if you have like fancy hairstyles, like, you know, a quiff like me sometimes, then like you use like a conditioner at the salon to like add volume to it when you blow it through it with a hair dryer because it adds some thickness.
Gotcha.
So I don't really use it, but I have it just in case I have like dry hair or if it's like really hot out and like my hair's getting all frazzled.
And you want a little volume?
Yeah, hold and stuff. You
okay.
know? So yeah, that's it. I guess I use hair gel too.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I rock the. Now this is embarrassing, and I'm switching it. I rock the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which, I mean, it's not terrible. It's not like a 6-in-1. At least it's geared towards your hair. But I'm going to switch. I literally ran out today, so.
Yeah, honestly, if you got shampoo, you're pretty set.
Yep.
It's got enough chemicals in there for enough stuff, you know. And then for like hair gel, I use American Crew.
Yeah, that's exactly what I used to.
So like, yeah, it's pretty standard. And then we can go on to like blow drying. People who blow dry their hair, who style it.
Okay.
I personally use a blow dryer because it adds volume to your hair. A lot of other guys do too. They just don't like to admit it. But
no,
you know,
I did it when I had longer hair.
Yeah.
So my hair's super curly.
Yeah.
I don't grow my hair out very long anymore, but I have pictures where I grew it out because it used to be decently long, and it literally is just curl. So I would blow dry it, and that would smooth it out.
Yeah, and the reason is because those specific proteins for certain people have more disulfide bonds than others, so they're more tight. So that's why you have curly hair.
Gotcha.
So that's why people who get a perm, what you do is you heat it up super hot with chemicals, and then you denature the bonds, and then you add a super high sulfate chemical mixture, and then you cool it, I believe, and then you get curly hair because you're basically like engineering the protein to be more tightly wound, so you have curly hair. That's how you get a perm.
The more you know.
So that's kind of like the chemistry behind how that works. So yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, when I found that out, it was kind of cool. So
Well, and you a lot of times think that you don't realize, I should say, how much science really plays into everyday life. And whenever you take a look at, okay, what is the heat actually doing? What are these chemicals actually doing? It becomes kind of a rabbit hole of what does this do? What does that do? And next thing you know, you get this end outcome that is super unique and different or super cool and everyone does it. And we just don't think about it that often.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's pretty much like hair products.
Yeah.
Um,
Do we want to, is there any more on hair?
I mean beards. If you have a beard, I have no clue, and I won't for probably another millennia.
Hey, you missed the mustache I had for No Shave November.
Jeez.
I grew out a mustache. Okay, this is a sad point, but I'll admit it on the podcast. So, I have blonde hair, right? But I also have black hair. Like if I were to grow out my beard, it would be black, or my mustache would be black.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is it's black in the center, and then right on the end, it's blonde. So it looks just super short because all you see is the black hair, and you don't see the blonde. So yeah, I don't grow out a beard either.
So do you? Does your family? Do they have beards?
My dad does, but
Is it
Greg,
plentiful?
nah. I mean, he keeps it decently short.
Okay.
But
it's full.
yeah, but it's getting gray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ah, damn.
Yeah. But yeah, nobody else does. My grandpa used to have a mustache.
So a thing that's kind of interesting. This is super tangential, but DHT derived from testosterone.
Okay.
DHT raises as we age as men in the scalp, and that's what causes the reduction in the hairline. Yeah. So I mean that's kind of something randomly, but the receptors in your face run inversely to DHT compared to the scalp. So that's why people who are balding, their high DHT levels cause a reduction in the hairline, but actually the growth of the beards. So that's why you see in the countries with people with really big beards, more often than not, they have either a perfect hairline or they don't have hair at all.
That's super interesting. The more you know.
Yeah, so that's
now that
tangent.
Now that I think about it, like if you have a bald guy but he has like a really good looking beard.
Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about beard hair, let's talk about the face.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the underlying skin. Okay.
Yeah.
See how I did that transition?
Yeah, it's nice.
I'll write that down. So now we're talking about skincare. Let's start off by talking about what not to do, because I have a feeling a lot of people are doing it.
Sure.
You want to kick it off?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So let's start with the diet / water.
Okay.
So as hinted earlier, everything we're going to talk about with the skin, especially the skin, is going to be based around water. So the first thing that people are doing wrong.
Wow.
Is they're drinking too much? Is they're drinking too much water?
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom.
Dun dun
Yeah.
dun.
You're drinking too much water.
Yeah. I'll put the sound effect in there too. Like boom boom boom.
So yeah, people are drinking too much water.
Drinking too much water?
Yeah. So people often think that you need to have a gallon a day and you'll have great skin because it flushes out all the toxins.
Oh yeah, that's what you've been sold on by every commercial.
And the first rule for good skincare is electrolyte balance.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your chloride, sodium, potassium, calcium electrolytes.
Yep.
Basically what happens is that ions, like electrolytes, that's why they're called electrolytes, electricity, charges. They like to go from places of high density to places of low density. That's how it works. Okay. So if you're intaking a lot of water, okay, what you're doing is in your extracellular fluid, or let's just say urine for this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What you're doing basically is you're creating an environment where there's pretty much nothing, maybe like a chloride ion or a fluoride ion if you're drinking like from the tap. Okay. It's very low in ions.
Yep.
Okay. But your cells are high in ions. Okay. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to go towards where there's not a lot of them because they want to maintain equilibrium. Okay. So your electrolytes are going to flow out of your cells, okay? And then what's going to happen? Since it's outside your cells, it's going to be excreted as urine, okay? This is why you may see that your urine is yellow, but then when you drink a ton, it's clear. But then people don't recommend that it should be a slight yellow, not clear. And that's because you don't want to excrete all your electrolytes. That's why people who may see that they drink a ton of regular water and they get cramps. But when you have like a gel shot or a Gatorade or something that has a lot of electrolytes in it,
yep.
then you see your muscle cramps go away. And that's because the equilibrium is maintained. All of this is to say that your cells in your skin are just like any cell in your body. So if you maintain that electrolyte balance, and it's balanced, the key word, then the water will be driven into your skin cells and also be retained in your blood. And that's how your cells can be hydrated. So hydrating from within.
Okay. So
that's
what
the
if
first tenet.
So what if someone said, okay, rather than reducing the amount of water I intake, I'm just going to intake a lot more electrolytes through food, through other things, with maybe drinks, right?
Yeah,
they drink a ton of Gatorade.
What you would see is that if you intake a lot of electrolytes through, let's say, salt in your food, intaking bananas and spinach for your potassium, things like that, you'll see that you don't really need more water, because your body will balance it out for you.
Yep, naturally.
This is also why people who eat a lot, but then are like still hungry, what you really need is like water. You'll find that if you drink water, then you won't be that hungry. Your body actually just wants water, and that's because it wants to maintain that balance. It's dehydrated in a way. So that's just another side tangent.
Yep.
But
so
yeah.
So are you against the gallon of water?
Yeah, that's unneeded.
Okay. What would you say the amount of water then?
Like
If
you have a shaker bottle,
yes,
4 of those.
4?
Yeah.
So like 2/3,
yeah,
2/3 of a gallon?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think that's a good amount.
Yeah.
And then only drink when your body tells you to. That's another thing. Your body has natural feedback mechanisms that work very well because they've existed for millions of years. So if you are thirsty, then drink till satiation, and then when you're not thirsty, then don't like force yourself because you need to hit a number. Like
Yeah,
it's just
gotcha.
a bunch of So you can add electrolyte powders, you can add electrolyte tablets, you can salt your food maybe if you want to do that, and not buy into sodium killing you.
Anti-salt.
So yeah, those are just some things.
Okay. So now
electrolyte
we got
balance.
Yep. So the goal of our diet should be, once again, balance. That's a key of our episode, balance.
Mm-hmm.
You want to understand what you're eating, right? Understand how it works within your body. Don't just drink water to just drink water. Do it with a purpose. You don't need a full gallon, but a lot of water is needed because your body's how much percentage of water?
I think 80%.
80%.
Yeah.
So water's important.
Yeah.
And also that will solve a lot of headaches, by the way, too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So now that we have the diet looking good,
yep.
What should be step 2?
So we've hydrated from the interior. So now we have to hydrate from the exterior. And this does not mean a water bottle. It means the environment.
Wait, you mean I don't just dump a bottle of water on my face and call it a day?
No.
Oh, man.
This is an Attack of the Titans. Anyway, so water originates from the outside. As hopefully people know that. It does not just come out of us. It comes from the outside,
yes.
Water. So a nice example is the winter time, okay? In the wintertime, our skin is dry more often than not. And this is because the humidity outside is high. But basically what happens is when we bring in that relative humidity inside where it's hotter, because we like to heat our homes,
mm-hmm.
The water gets, boiled off, evaporated. And then what that causes is that the relative humidity drops inside where it's warmer, and the moisture gets pulled from our skin. So that's why our skin turns dry. This is why you see people moisturizing their hands when they're inside, for instance.
Interesting.
So yeah. So
This
that's
is also with hot showers too.
yes.
Same philosophy.
Yes. So how do you compensate? Well, one way is humidifier. So this takes, if you've ever used a humidifier, hopefully you know how this works. If not, I don't know why you bought it. But basically, it contains water, and then it evaporates it into the air, and then your air has a relative humidity that's higher after using the humidifier.
And that in turn
helps
balances,
and it helps the skin because it's not pulling it. The air's not pulling water out of the skin, metaphorically, because it's not saying shit. Anyway, another thing that I've done is air dry your laundry in your room, so like towels and stuff. This will raise the humidity of the room because the room's going to draw the moisture out of the clothes or towels
into the air, and then boom, into your glowing skin.
Yes, exactly. Or dry skin.
Or depends on where you're at.
So both these methods supply more water to the. Both these methods supply more water to the skin, from the outside.
Okay.
Okay, so we're hitting it from both sides. And then conversely, using that example of the winter time, in the summer, it's very dry out. It depends where you are. In Wisconsin, sometimes it's freaking humid.
Yeah.
But anyway, when you go inside, the cold air from the AC unit's blasting. So then it's gonna cause it's gonna be a reduction in humidity relative to the outside, but depending on where you are. And then the cold air will cause the moisture to come out of your skin. So then you have dry skin. When you sit in front of an AC unit for a long time, you kind of notice that.
And also, how AC units work is they pull humidity out of the air as it blows. So you are getting...
You are the source.
Yeah, you are the source of moisture, basically.
Yeah. And then another thing, just really quickly, people think that, like I'm washing my face with warm water. It's opening my pores. And then I finish my wash with cold water because it closes my pores.
Okay.
Science has revealed it doesn't really work like that.
So how does it work, Mike?
Like mild water does the same thing. Just closes and opens.
Okay.
It just doesn't,
so it's just water.
Like the extremes are just gonna damage your skin either way.
Okay.
So I stopped doing that a long time ago. So yeah, don't do that. So yeah. So now we got water coming from the outside and the inside. So how do we retain it? That's the next question.
So how do we retain it, Mike?
Well, we talked about sebum before, the natural oils produced from the body. So what this does is it prevents water from being evaporated, just like in the air, because it acts like a layer of oil to take the water and protect it from being evaporated. Why is this? Because if you think to, let's say, glass of water. You have a glass of water, you put oil in it, what happens? It separates.
Yes.
They're not of the same. Okay? One's more dense. Basically, how this works is you cover it's the natural oil on your skin. Doesn't cause the water to evaporate because it's heavier or whatever. Anyway, stupid experiment. But basically, this is all to say that, okay, you have this natural defense mechanism. We can use something like it. Okay, what is that? Moisturizers.
Yep.
Okay, so moisturizers act like sebum. And this is because they contain water to keep it to keep the skin hydrated by retaining the water, and they shield the air from taking the water away. They also, what this also does is keeping the skin hydrated. It helps for a normal shedding period of their skin, because obviously your skin is like any other cell. It dies, raises to the top, and then
gets replaced.
Yeah, it gets replaced. So keeping your skin hydrated also helps with this cycle too. Keeps it in a normal cycle, so your skin's smooth most of the time.
That way, you just don't have dead cells hanging there.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly, which is very noticeable. And sometimes we get really
especially
scaly
on your hands.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. So another thing that moisturizers contain is occlusives. And occlusives just basically prevent moisture from evaporating off your skin. Occlusives, an example could be Vaseline. Vaseline's an occlusive. It's very oily.
Keeps moisture in.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then another thing could be like if you like ever wash your car and then put a shine over it, it keeps it nice and shiny, and that's because it's keeping the look that came from washing it.
And that also, in return, interesting. A lot of them are hydrophobic, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they repel water,
Yes.
and that keeps you looking good.
Yeah. So it keeps it pats down the water, keeps it where it is. And then like moisturizers have humectants. So this could be like glycerin or honey. And these basically keep water out from below. From below, they keep the water in, and then out from above, so it's not causing that like equilibrium with the air. Keeps it moist.
It reduces the transfer, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then another thing is that dry skin isn't skin that lacks oil, but water. And this is seen because young children don't produce sebum because they haven't gone through puberty, and sebum's controlled by hormonal processes. So that's why they don't produce it, because their hormones like testosterone aren't super high.
And they also have reduced acne.
Yes, and that gives the reasoning behind it. Okay, because young children have very smooth skin, but they don't have sebum. So why is this? Is because they have really good balances, and they have really good water intake and water absorption, because all their processes are working well because they're young. And then we can give the explanation and reasoning behind this, because once you have high amounts of sebum being produced after puberty, then you can see the pimples develop. And the pimples originate because the dead skin isn't being shed off. So the sebum glands that are producing the sebum, obviously, will produce the sebum under the dry skin, okay, because it's not being shedded. And then that'll cause a little bump, and then pressure buildup, and then, an inflammatory response.
So our goal is to either keep the cells healthy, or help them shed off faster, and in return, that will allow the sebum to move normally, and reduce acne. Yeah,
exactly. So like, this is why when people like the misconception you have to like scrub your skin to get the dead cells off. That's just a very wrong statement. Because in doing so, what you're doing is just removing sebum, the oil, and that's just making your skin drier when you're like scrubbing. Because most of these body washes and these facial scrubs, if you don't choose correctly, and if you go for the cheap option, some of them contain detergents. Detergents, the job is to pull oil. So you're just pulling the sebum off your skin, and that doesn't allow for the moisture to be retained in your skin when you don't have that layer.
And that also encourages more sebum to be produced, which just compounds the problem of really oily skin.
Yes. This is also why like I only use body soap ever so often, and everyone's like, "Oh God," but like I don't use body soap every shower. And that's because if you use it every single shower, you're taking off the sebum off your skin. Okay. And most people, I'm guessing, don't moisturize after showers, or put body lotion on. So you're just walking around with dry skin once again. And so this can cause like ingrown hair problems, stuff like that. But I do not use body wash every shower. And that's because it has detergent. Body washes for sure have detergent, so it's stripping you of sebum instantaneously, and you're walking around like with it. And the other thing is that sure, you're in a humid room, that being the shower area, but as soon as you step out, then it's automatically a less humid environment, so you're gonna get that water evaporation occurring, especially after you use a body wash. So I only use it I only use it often, because more often than not, you'll have excess sebum. But if you do it every day, then you just never will have excess sebum. You'll just have a dry skin problem. And like everyone thinks this is like whack, but it's just the case.
So what if you did this? What if you use soap, right, and then you just use moisturizer? When obviously
the only problem that compounds is that you're putting moisturizer on an area that secretes sebum.
Yeah, gotcha.
So you're doing oil on oil, and that can create a compounding effect. So I'd rather have a sebum cycle, producing sebum at a normal rate, and then put on a moisturizer every now and then, or just have a natural normal cycle of moisturizing, aka sebum production, and using body soap every so often.
So before we dive into what you do then, right, what do you actually use? That's also probably why Accutane works the way it does, why it dries you out so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
this is how Accutane works. It controls your hormones, which control the sebum, which in turn reduces acne.
Yeah, and that's why in the first month or so you get like
Really dry skin.
Dry.
Yeah. Were you ever on Accutane?
No.
I was on Accutane.
Oh damn.
Yeah. It honestly, okay, my experience was way better than most. I also didn't have terrible acne,
Mm-hmm.
but I had it enough that they said, "Hey, you should probably go on it."
Yeah.
As long as I moisturized, after showers, I was fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I've never had a problem really. I only had a problem in like 6th grade and the 7th grade, but after that it kind of
Cleared
settled
up.
down.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was about it. But
So what do you, the Michael Szymanski, do? Because I have a feeling you're not rolling around all stinky after a nice workout, but you're like, I can't use body soap. So what are you using? Tell me how you operate.
Okay, so basically I because of my rigorous workout schedule,
Okay.
I
We're
shower
humble here.
I shower after every workout,
Me too.
but I don't use body wash after every workout. And this is because your skin isn't the thing causing stench. Your skin isn't. It's the sweat from your sweat glands that originates in your armpits. So my theory behind it is, okay, so you use water to wash it all off, and you can apply a deodorant. And then, the source of the stench is cut off. So, yeah. It's pretty simple.
Interesting.
It's pretty simple, and it works because I don't smell at all. And it's also
That's good.
and it's also because diet plays a lot into it.
Yeah.
I know lots of people that don't actually wear any deodorant at all, and they don't smell either, and that's because their diet is in a concordance with their genetics and the lineage of human nature, so they don't need to wear deodorant because they don't really smell.
Do you have a diet? What diet is that? Do you know?
It's
Or
like a
no?
paleo diet.
Gotcha.
So like the more processed stuff you eat,
The
you
worse
tend to
you
smell. You tend to smell pretty freaking bad from both ends.
Welcome to college.
So
Yeah.
So yeah. So then after I shower, I more often than not immediately moisturize my face. And that's just locking in the humidity and the water in my skin from the shower.
And what moisturizer do you use?
I use Cetaphil,
Same.
and it also contains a SPF,
Yeah.
which is also
15 or 25 for yours.
I think mine's 25.
I think mine's 25 too.
And that's another important thing because UV damage is very easy to come by, especially when you're not trying to get it, aka walking outside, not going to if you're not going to the beach. Most people don't really consider any SPF, but you're always, more often than not, unless you're a hermit, in contact with the sun. So there's UV rays hitting your skin, and those are very sensitive cells, because obviously you can get
melanoma and the whole other gambit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's important to have SPF in your moisturizer too, because you want that protection, and that also decreases the lines, the scarring, the dryness, obviously, because the sun reflects and obviously causes some heat onto your body. So then that will cause a localized relative humidity decrease and then drawing out of the skin.
And once again, we get on this moisture rant.
So yeah, I apply that. I do have like serums and stuff. So that those just contain like vitamin A and stuff like that. I used to take vitamin A supplements like in their active form because it contains retinol, and you can take retinol supplements if you've been familiar with this. And basically vitamin A aids in the process of skin health and also capillary health. So specifically in skin areas. So that's why it can lead to better looking skin and just aiding that shedding process. That's pretty important to maintain in a general cycle.
And you took those supplements?
Yeah, so I would take a vitamin A like every day. I would, because it's very hard to get in your diet. The highest source that I used to intake was liver. And obviously people don't want to intake that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm all right,
So yeah, like, intaking vitamin A is really important through the diet also. So yeah, that's another thing. And then like
Gotcha.
I take like, I have this, skin supplement that's like niacin. And basically this niacin is just a precursor to an energy molecule in the body. And since these are cells that die pretty quickly, if you can retain the energy sources within those cells, then they can last longer pretty much. That's the methodology behind it, so they don't die as fast, so you have a healthier looking skin. But that's just kind of, you don't need it. I use that sometimes, but
Yeah.
it works well if you have a blemish. So that's just another thing.
So what I'm hearing is, by the end of this episode, okay, y'all are going to be looking great with the skin, okay? The beard we can't guarantee, we must admit, but the hairline, the hair follicles themselves are going to be looking good. I mean, come on, guys. This is value in itself.
Another thing.
Whoa, okay, that was a little extreme.
Another thing. Wash your nails.
Yes.
Get the grimy stuff off your hands and nails, because what are you doing most of the day? I'm bored in class, so I'm gonna put my hand on my face. I'm gonna grab this door that 1,000 people just touched and wipe my head.
Let me wipe my oily
You're
eyeball.
touching your phone
like
that you
right across
put down on the bathroom sink. So
You do that?
you need to wash your
Oh, boy.
hands, because they contain a lot of germs,
Chemicals, yeah.
and you're rubbing. You just got to be conscious. I know it sucks, but you have to be conscious now of touching your face, because you're putting a lot of germs on your face, and that'll just cause an inflammatory response. Which what does that look like? Redness, and you don't want redness on your face, because that looks kind of bad. Blemishes don't really look that good
No.
sometimes. So yeah, that's just another thing. You don't touch your face. That's another cool tip. Just that people don't really think about.
Yep.
All you have to do is like, okay, I'm to do an experiment. If you're ballsy, rest your head on one side of your pillow. Don't wash it, your pillowcase, and just rest on one side, or like rest your finger on like a part of your face for a while. I guarantee you'll see a blemish appear in that one spot.
Okay, I do not suggest that you do this, okay?
It's just something. Or if you see a blemish, in a certain spot, think about like how you've been resting, or like how you've been like, if you put your hand there in the past couple of days, and you'll like notice that. Okay, yeah.
You know what's terrible about that? You got to be honest. We can say it on here. Masks. I notice, like, genuinely, where my mask hits my face.
Yeah.
Blemishes all the time.
Yeah, especially when working out.
Yeah, because I'm a good. I definitely wear a mask when I'm working out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, same.
Anyway, so moving on. You wanna dive into teeth real quick?
Yes, awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Now that we got the face looking good, we got, as I just smacked the mic. Now that we got your face looking good, your hair is looking spiffy. Let's get your teeth looking great.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Where to start? All right. I'm going to break some people's hearts right now. All right.
I feel like this is an easier one to understand, though, than the skin and the hair.
Okay. Teeth health. All right. Here it goes. All right. So you don't need toothpaste. Sorry.
What? What are you talking about?
Okay. I'm about to break people's hearts.
Actually,
okay, basically,
I am pro toothpaste, by the way.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. I'll give both sides. Okay. Because I do use toothpaste.
Yes.
But I'm just explaining this. Okay. So, basically, in research, they've shown that the only thing that decreases cavity occurrences if you are not eating a highly processed diet, keyword, is the flossing and brushing motions.
Mm-hmm.
If people flossed and brushed every day, they had lesser occurrences of not plaque buildup, but cavities than people who had a processed diet but used toothpaste. And and it just shows that the actual thing that matters is that you're flossing and brushing. And why is this the case? Okay, it's because your teeth actually have 5 sides. Okay, people think of like the 3 or 4 sides because those are the ones you can see.
Yeah, the outside, the inside, and the top, right?
Yeah,
That's what you hit with the brush.
Yeah, exactly. But what you miss is the 5th side, and that's in between teeth, and that's why flossing is important. Not only for gum health, which is another topic, but yeah, you need to get the 5th side because that's where a lot of cavities actually occur, is within the bridging between the teeth and the contact between the teeth, because that's where the plaque builds up and where the food gets stuck, specifically starches and sugar-rich foods that if left sitting there causes the cavities.
And that also leads to a buildup, which in turns develops bad breath. It develops a stench, and that's how you get really bad breath.
Because what's occurring is that these bacteria that live in your mouth, there's good bacteria in your mouth and there's bad bacteria in your mouth, but they both run off the same energy source more or less. But we've seen that these bad bacteria that are living in your mouth, they love processed food because it's very high in simple sugars, so it can be processed very easily for energy. And what these bacteria smell like? They smell like that, like bad breath.
And that's also carbohydrates, right?
Yes,
on a very, 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 very simple level.
But yes, but the thing is that with simple sugars, that they're easily accessible right away versus a
complex carbohydrate.
Yeah, which takes a while.
Yeah.
Which usually these basic bacteria don't have the ability to break down. Our stomachs do the processing of breaking down these complex starches.
Interesting.
So the thing that I've really been heavily on since I studied a lot of diet stuff is people who have like a paleo diet or don't eat any processed food or sugars. And you actually start to see that the bad bacteria aren't as plentiful. The good bacteria are plentiful, but they also develop plaque. Okay, this was also studied in people who eat honey. Okay, so they develop plaque, and the interesting thing from these labs is that the people who develop this plaque eating this type of diet, the plaque actually didn't cause cavities. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
The bacteria that was found in the plaque wasn't actually, since it's not from a processed carb source, it doesn't actually
decompose the tooth.
Exactly, which was kind of cool. And these are the same people who just brush and floss their teeth but don't use toothpaste. So yeah. Basically, the reason why I experimented without toothpaste for a while is because I read research articles about how the good bacteria in your mouth, they actually play a very crucial role in the nitric oxide system in your body.
Okay.
They're actually one of the main components of it.
And for anyone that doesn't know, isn't that how you basically digest how you use oxygen within your body and how it? I could be totally wrong on this.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's the transport.
Yeah,
more or less.
transport.
It's like if you take citrulline, it increases nitric oxide production, or nitrates or stuff like that.
And that helps muscles with
degeneration because the
performance.
Because the blood vessels are more inflated, so the nutrients can travel more long, and there's a higher blood volume around the area of damage.
Okay.
Basically, all this is saying is that when you use toothpaste, it is contains fluoride, and fluoride has been known to remineralize the teeth, which is very important in toothpaste because the main basis of using toothpaste at all is to remineralize the teeth
and replenish it.
Yeah, exactly. Because they contain lots of minerals. However, most of these ions and other chemicals found in toothpaste, especially high-ranking brands that have tons of chemicals in toothpaste, they kill all bacteria. So this includes the good bacteria. So this is eliminating a strong partner in the nitric oxide production system. So that's why you might. I noticed at least that I got better pumps, and that I had really vascularized veins and arteries that I could see through my skin. When I experimented with this.
When you're not using toothpaste?
Yeah. And it is because it is one of the forerunners of the nitric oxide system.
No way.
Because they run the entire gastrointestinal system because it starts in your mouth.
Yeah, completely.
So yeah.
So if you want to
basically, if you want to use toothpaste, try to look for brands that have very basic like complexes, like a mineral complex and a good natural like mint flavor, like from a mint leaf or something like that, versus like all these artificial and chemicals that are put into these brands that like brush the heck out of your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And just like your skin, you don't want to get super dense mineral, like hard mineral based toothpaste that scrapes, because that'll take off your enamel. And enamel is kind of similar to sebum, but it's not secreted. It's kind of one and done type of deal. It has been shown to be regrown, but that's in another special case. But it's kind of the defense mechanism against damage from your teeth. This is what the bad bacteria bite through to create cavities. So you want to maintain your enamel and keep it healthy. So that's another reason why you don't want to like scrub vigorously your teeth too.
Yeah. So really, and going back upon our other points, the key to this is flossing.
Yeah, flossing.
And the actual motion that you're doing, not necessarily that you have to go out and flip off your toothpaste manufacturer.
Yeah.
But the key is the actual action behind it. And then if you want to further improve, picking the correct toothpaste that doesn't just absolutely decimate your mouth.
Yeah.
And boom, you're set up. Also
brush your tongue.
Yes.
Because no one does that. That's a lot. It's a biome for all the bacteria, because that's where food is first,
And it's also right
lands.
in the center of your mouth.
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. Right where the wind from your lungs blows right past.
Yeah.
And then another thing for flossing is gums. So gum health. Obviously, gums contain all of the vascularization that feeds into your teeth and the nerves that give sensation to your teeth. So
and they hold your teeth in?
Yeah, so you want to keep them very healthy. And flossing, even though it might hurt, after you do it after a couple of weeks, it doesn't hurt anymore, and that's because you just become immune to it, and also the gums grow in size. And this is because the bleeding that occurs, when you first start flossing, what that's actually releasing is growth factors. Just as if you did a needle therapy in your scalp and you are bleeding from putting in new indentations in your scalp. That's kind of a procedure nowadays. It releases growth factors, and then that can actually grow new hair. That's the basis of people regrowing their hairline. It's kind of cool. So they do a 0.5 millimeter stab basically into your scalp, and then they create a new hairline. That's just releasing growth factors. So it's kind of the same thing with your gums. This bleeding is part of the growing and maintenance phase of your cells in the gum tissue. So that's why another reason why it's important. And then one more thing, is that the bacteria that is found in plaque has been associated with neurodegenerative diseases. So that's just another thing to keep in mind, is that this plaque has been shown to be related to beta amyloid plaque in the brain, and that causes things like Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative diseases. So that's kind of another thing why I always make it a pattern that I always brush my teeth after I especially found out that research.
Yeah. Well, and I think also another factor when you're flossing, so the bacteria that hides in your gums, it hates oxygen. And so what happens is whenever you floss and you break that barrier, and the bad bacteria that feeds off of your mouth, when it hits oxygen, it will actually die. Mm-hmm. So once again, that just, flossing really helps with overall mouth health.
Yeah, because bacteria are anaerobic in nature, not aerobic like us. We can do both, but yeah, they're not aerobic. So yeah, oxygen actually kills them off too.
Okay.
At times.
So do we have anything else to add here?
This is a general overview, I guess.
Yeah, let's give a little overview for the people.
Yeah. So if you have thin hair, use shampoo almost every day. If you have thick hair, every other day. If you blow dry your hair, don't put the heat directly on it. I don't think we talked about that, but if you use a hair gel, don't use a ton of it because it has a lot of chemicals. If you're have a good electrolyte balance for your skin from your diet, or tablets.
You don't need a ton of water.
Don't drink too much water to dehydrate yourself via electrolyte imbalance. And then get good moisture from the environment, or replace that moisture from like a shower or a sink, and then use moisturizers to retain that hydration in your skin. And then for teeth, brush your teeth and floss them, and then use a healthy toothpaste that will not decimate your mouth and all your bacteria, and also brush your tongue. So yeah.
Well, Michael, I appreciate our show today. It was a good time. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, give us a share, give us a follow. We appreciate it. Feel free, shout us out on Instagram and help grow the show. Have a good one, guys.